Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to 50 States of Gay. Today I'm in Chesapeake, Virginia, joined with a special guest to share her story and her experiences growing up here and going to school all across the United States. So, without further ado...
Hi, I'm Reese James. I'm a queer person of color. I'm a pan-romantic demisexual.
Fantastic. It's always really nice to be able to work with someone who's so in tune with their identity, probably more in tune than I am with mine. So you probably have a lot of people wondering now what those identities specifically mean. Do you want to just kind of explain?
Yeah, so pan-romantic means I am romantically attracted to people of any gender, and demisexual is that I don't feel a sexual attraction unless I have a close personal bond with someone.
Fantastic. There's all kinds of different spectrums and different identities, so make sure you look into those, research some of those as well. But being here in Virginia, this is our first southern state, I believe. We're going to call this the South, right?
Okay.
We're going to call it the South,
That
it counts. So what has it been like to be someone who falls under the LGBTQ spectrum here in a southern state?
Well, I'm definitely a minority in more aspects than one. So I felt kind of like out of place a lot of the time. But I think over the past couple of years, I've been able to find myself and feel more comfortable as I learn more about the LGBT community.
That's great. And you mentioned being a minority in more ways than one. What's that intersectionality been like? Do you feel one is maybe more of a struggle than the other, or are they kind of exclusive?
I think being a person of color is a bigger deal because it is more obvious to people. And being in the South, it's still kind of a little bit of discrimination, so yeah.
Understandable. And so really being an LGBTQ person, how long have you been out?
My first formal coming out was probably about a year ago. I came out to my best friend over text, and she really welcomed it, and she said she was so proud of me and really happy for me. But I think just the way I live my life, people kind of guess, because I'm with girls sometimes and I'm with guys sometimes. So yeah, my coming out is kind of different with everyone, but still pretty okay.
Now, has it been all positive for coming out?
No, with my family, they were not exactly happy. I didn't technically come out to them. They read my diary one day, and then they sat me down and had a talk and said that was not okay, and then we didn't speak for a couple weeks, but now we just kind of pretend like it didn't happen, which is not the best, but it's a working relationship, I guess.
That's fair. And so I'm sorry to hear that, first of all, but did you come out with your full identity and have to explain that to them, or did you just say something else?
Well, I think I wrote in my diary that I was pan and demi, but I don't think they really understood what it meant, so I just kind of explained what it meant and then kind of left it alone for a while.
Fair. And how did you honestly come to terms with that identity? Because I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who probably only thought their choices were L, G, B, or T. You had to be one. How did you really figure out exactly what you were?
To be honest, I took a lot of online quizzes, like BuzzFeed and stuff, and they started putting up terms that I had no clue what they meant. So I started doing research and finding out the definitions and things, and then I found that I identified with some of those things that I hadn't realized before. So.
Fantastic. All right, so take me now to college. You are in a club at Belmont, correct?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
I'm in Bridge Builders at Belmont, and it is a club where we kind of study the intersectionality of being in the LGBT community and being at a Christian school, and then we compare that to different topics each week. And I found that it's a really cool way to discover more about myself and more about the different parts of the LGBT community. I've really learned a lot, and I felt welcome in that community more than I have before.
And that's great, especially at a Christian university.
Yes.
To be able to find something like that. And now, I'm assuming that means you're a person of faith as well.
Yes.
What's that been like with the church, being a person of faith, and your identities?
Yeah, when the same-sex marriage law was passed, that week in church, everyone went wild. They were not having it. I remember just sitting in the pew, and I was about to cry because everyone was like, this is not okay, this is like an abomination. I left and I went to the bathroom and I just like stayed there for a while. Because I had grown up with these people in church, and now it was like they were all kind of like turning on me indirectly. So they don't know, because I am like a leader at the church. I work with worship and the youth group. And so I feel like my identity shouldn't be a barrier between me and my faith and the people who strengthen my faith. So I feel like it's kind of difficult being who I am and being in a church like that, but I know there are churches out there who would accept me.
That's fantastic. And yeah, there are a lot of church organizations out there. You're looking for somewhere of faith to find. There's a great group called Faithfully LGBT that can help connect you to churches and religious leaders who support the LGBTQ community. All right, so on a last note, what kind of recommendations or advice would you give to anyone trying to struggle with maybe not fitting into even some of the minority identities that they could? Because you are very proud and passionate about your identity, and I love it. So what would you give to someone who may be thinking, I guess I'm gay, but maybe I'm not? What's my identity? What advice would you give?
Well, I would say definitely don't feel like you have to label yourself, because it's fluid. It's all fluid. It can change. I would say that do your research and see like other people, how they identify, how they feel, and see if you relate to anyone. And then like talk to people in the LGBT community, and you can just form relationships and find out more about yourself and more about them, and really get to know who you are as a person and become strong in that.
Wonderful advice from Maurice. But thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for watching this edition of 50 States of Gay here in Virginia. Make sure you click subscribe below on my videos. Comment with what your thoughts are, as well as maybe what your identity is or what your experience was as well. Make sure you follow Reese on all of her social media links in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and make sure you make the world a better place with everything you do.